Hi, everyone.
What's up?
Welcome back. Welcome to episode 3. How's it
Finally.
going?
God.
How's it going, everyone? Hope you enjoyed the last 2. You,
late.
8 people that have watched it?
I haven't checked on it in a while, honestly. I didn't even look at it.
I think the second one is up to about 23 views. Listens?
Ooh.
Because, I mean, you can't really watch it.
Yeah.
It's just a picture of a bunch of movies that we own.
Yeah.
We own every one of those movies. In this picture that you're looking at right now, hopefully, we own every one of those movies.
Yeah.
Some numerous times. Over. All right, Patti. What are we going to do today? Tonight? Evening?
Don't know.
Morning? Whenever you're listening to this.
Is there anything on your mind that you want to talk about?
I want to start off with a segment called What's in the News? We're going to preface. So yeah, entertainment news lately has just been really depressing to me, and I guess that maybe is just a sign that we're getting older.
Yeah.
And everything just sucks. But we're just going to do something fun, I guess. We're just going to go to a movie website.
And just read some headlines.
See what's new. And maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. I don't know. I've been out of the house all day doing stuff. Haven't really looked. Okay, Ang Lee and Will Smith start filming Gemini Man. Great.
Wasn't Will Smith already in Gemini Man?
That was...
that was Omega Man.
That was I Am Legend.
Yeah, and it was Omega Man.
So it's a sequel, right? I'm not even going to click on it. I'm just going to assume they're filming a sequel to I Am Legend. And fine, and I'm going to go see it and be really disappointed. All right. Sneak peek at Sunday. Watch a sneak peek at Sundays with Alec Baldwin after the Oscars.
What?
That is literally what it says. Watch a sneak peek at Sundays with Alec Baldwin after the Oscars. Is Sundays a TV show?
I mean, the Oscars are on Sunday.
Sneak peek will air Sunday at 11:35 p.m. So if you want to find out what the fuck that is this a network show that we don't watch?
Because we don't have TV. Like, all we have is we don't have cable or satellite or even like a digital antenna. All we have is streaming.
Nothing will work where we live.
we did try.
Yeah. Wasn't a very good one, though.
That's true, but it got nothing.
It got half of a signal for...
And it wasn't enough to even see what was on.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. showrunners ready if this is the final season.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still on?
The show's 100th episode airs March 9th.
I have never seen a single episode. I haven't seen
one episode of that show. Well, good for them.
I honestly thought it was over.
Good for them. TNT's Animal Kingdom adds Dennis Leary.
I don't know what that is.
Cool. Good for Dennis Leary. Steve Martin and Martin Short to launch Netflix comedy special.
Martin and Martin, I would watch.
I hope so. Paul Walker documentary in development at Paramount Network.
Interesting.
Paul Walker gets a documentary.
Okay, I want to time out on this because you said the Paramount Network.
Yes.
And my thought just went to that horrible fucking Heather's TV show trailer.
Yeah, I guess we need to talk about that.
Like, I couldn't even finish the trailer because it just looked like fucking trash.
It looked like someone that had never seen Heather's but was told about it and said, make a Heather's TV show. Made a Heather's TV show.
The problem...
For 2018.
The problem I'm having with it
Heather's fat.
It's not that Heather's fat. It's that... it's not that Heather's fat or that one of the Heathers is a minority and that the other Heather is, I'm assuming, a gay man. Well, he's a teenager, but still.
Clearly.
A gay male. My problem is that those were and still are 3 groups that are still very much bullied. So in making them the ones that bully, it's like a fuck you to like teenagers that are actually in these situations still.
No,
and
return it on its head, because in the movie, weren't those the people that got made fun of? The fat girl. Well, they weren't actually gay.
No.
But they made it seem like they were.
Well, yeah, but it's not. I don't know.
It just looks fucking terrible.
And it looks bad. It just looks really bad.
And I think the worst thing on top of it is that it's a fucking TV show. So it's like, that's just gonna go on.
Right, like how are you gonna keep that going?
How do you expect to get 5 seasons out of this?
At the end of the movie, she kills JD.
They're all fucking right.
All but one of the Heathers is dead. Well, and that's the other thing. I looked at the IMDb page. Shannon Doherty plays JD's mom on the TV show. How
she's fallen? It's like now you used to play like teens, and now you're playing.
And I don't mind Shannon Doherty in things. I mean, even really shitty things. It's always fun to see Shannon Doherty, and I'm like, there was one that they used to play on like TNT or some like TBS, like during the day, sort of like a single white female kind of movie, and it had one of the London brothers in it, where it's like this really shy blonde girl meets Shannon Doherty's character in college and just really starts to like movie? Yeah, it's just fucking terrible. But I used to watch it every time it was on. I found it so entertaining. But it's trash. It is just garbage.
Okay.
But it's lovable garbage. And Shannon Doherty's really good in it.
That's interesting.
She's like the hero of it.
Oh, she's not the bad guy.
No.
She's not the villain.
No.
Okay.
She's the one who's the like shy girl is trying to be like, and then just starts like stealing her life. Like steals her boyfriend, becomes the lead singer of Shannon Doherty's character's band.
Oh.
It's very 90s.
Okay, well, if you know what the name of this movie is, why don't you call in?
Oh, wait.
No one's calling. And no one's going to call.
If you wanted to call in about the Shannon Doherty movie, you should have called during
last week's episode, Sith Academy. Look, it's real simple. I feel like we've done this joke before.
I think we did.
Look it up. Well, that's funny. I've never seen it. But
I wish I could remember the name of it.
So yeah, Heathers. Good luck, guys. Good luck, everybody involved. We're all rooting for you.
No,
but
I'm not.
If anything, I'm rooting for you to fail.
I'm not rooting for you in any way.
Terrible.
It looks terrible.
It's like,
you know what it looks like?
What?
It almost looks like. Do you remember a few years ago when I watched like the first 2 seasons of that MTV show Awkward?
Yes.
It kind of looks like that.
It does.
But not funny in any way, even though it's trying like way too hard to be funny.
It looks like
or was it written by like a 65-year-old man that thinks that this is what teenagers want?
This is what high school's like, right? The
fat girl is body positive, and
even though that's not a thing. Oh no, wait, it is a thing.
I mean, it is a thing, but it's no.
And it's like
they're still getting bullied.
Like I'm sure it'll be explained on how she's
not even really fat. She's just like chubby.
No, but I'm sure.
But they say that in the trailer, like, oh, fat kids can be popular now. They actually said that in the trailer.
Oh, did they?
And yes, in the movie, the heavy girl was very bullied. And
yeah.
She's the one
that
always
wanted
the band to come play the like anti-suicide, and
right,
I feel like she tried to kill herself and failed.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Heathers in a while.
I haven't seen.
You haven't gotten to that yet.
No, I have not.
Movie challenge.
I am in the E's.
Pretty close. Yeah, you're in the E's. But that's how it's always been. The fat person, shunned, or the best friend.
Right.
Right. But not Heathers. No way. The fat girl's the villain. And it sort of just also...
Maybe that's why I'm thinking of Awkward as well, because the snotty, like, popular girl was heavier. Not fat, she was heavier.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's, like, stuck in my mind.
But they're also, like, coming back to the, fat people are just inherently unhappy and mean. So...
Right, I'm not sure.
What are they going for?
Wait, what? Right.
What is it? What are they
going for?
To do?
I mean, I know you're trying to capitalize on that. Like, people are so into old being new again.
Right. It's the nostalgia.
they're trying to catch. Well, and did it work? It kind of worked with MTV and Teen Wolf.
They did Teen Wolf.
That they made like a TV show that was, instead of being a comedy, it was dark and brooding, kind of like Twilight.
Like Twilight wanted to be, but couldn't because it was for teenage girls.
And then what's the other one? Oh, Riverdale.
Riverdale.
Taking the Archie's kids and putting them in like a dark and brooding. Right. It's Twin Peaks. It's just Twin Peaks.
It's just Twin Peaks. But they also brought back MacGyver, which is still on.
Oh, Lethal Weapon is still on.
Lethal Weapon? Oh my god. We watched the first episode of that.
And I remember you said, this show looks way too expensive.
Yeah.
But it is very McG. You can see McG all over it.
It was like the end credits popped up and it's like, produced by McG. And it's just like, oh, everything made sense. Because what the fuck was the reason behind the scene in the show, which always stood out to me, is just like so fucking dumb, where the guy who plays Riggs, first of all, terrible. Damon Wayans, awesome.
He was really good.
He was like good. He was a good Roger.
And I remember when we looked it up, when we watched that episode, that Damon Wayans was older filming that
than Danny Glover ever was.
Right. In any of the Lethal Weapon movies.
He was older than Danny Glover was in Lethal Weapon 4. Damon Wayans, I think Danny Glover was like 48 in the first movie.
Right. And Damon Wayans in his 50s now.
Damon Wayans 59.
He still looks good for his age.
Black don't crack. Not for him. But the scene I'm talking about is like the guy who plays Riggs is on the top of a car. And then for no reason at all, it like bursts through a hay mound and goes into like a Formula One race or some shit.
It's like, what is happening?
Why? This is so dumb. What?
I think that was the point where that was the moment in the episode. This is way too expensive.
But it was a pilot, so I mean, I don't know if any of the other episodes looked as expensive.
The only other thing I am aware of it is the picture that somebody posted on Reddit was they were filming a scene where there's a crime scene outside. It was like in an alley, and someone took a screenshot because it's actually in front of what is the bar front for Patty's on It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. So there's kind of a nod to their
Lethal Weapon 5
and 6. But we watched the show and I got it like right away. It's like, oh, okay. So as the season goes on and the seasons go on, they're just going to introduce more characters from the movies. You're going to get Leo. You're going to get whoever Rene Russo played in the third one. You're going to find out that Riggs' wife was killed because he was getting too close to a case. And it was like, and then sure enough, I think I looked through I didn't watch it, but I looked through the episode listing and I saw one of the episodes was called As Good as It Gets. And I was like, oh, well, that's where Leo shows up.
Most likely, yeah.
And then it's just like, this is fucking bullshit. I saw these movies. I don't need to see a lame TV show.
Speaking, they're turning all these movies into TV shows.
Yeah.
Or bringing back, which MacGyver is still on.
Yeah.
And I just saw that they cast someone and are making a Magnum PI reboot for some fucking reason. Like,
remember when they did it like 10 years ago with Knight Rider?
Vaguely.
And it was only like 13 episodes?
Wasn't it longer than 10 years ago now?
No, because it was when it might not have been like 8 years ago, but it was when Cohen was doing The Tonight Show, and he kept making fun of it. He kept making fun of just how terrible Knight Rider was.
I remember the car was newer.
The car was a Ford Mustang.
Right, it was like a newer car.
Yeah, and Val Kilmer was the voice. But I think I watched half of an episode. And
I don't think I ever even watched a single one because I was thinking, like, there's no way.
Oh, that's right. In the first episode, fucking David Hasselhoff shows up.
Well, of course he does.
Bridging the gap. Like, wait. What?
So it's not a reboot? It's not a sequel?
Reboot. It's a sequel series with David Hasselhoff.
Fuck you.
Right. As a nation, we rose up and said, fuck you. And they canceled it. Can we do that for Heathers as a nation?
I have seen nothing but bad reviews for it, honestly.
Is it on?
I don't know. I think the reviews I've been seeing are like advanced preview critic, whatever the hell they call those for TV shows.
Okay. Early word of mouth. Doesn't seem to be great.
No. Oh, and the trailer looks horrible.
It does. It's like, oh, Heathers, I remember that. What the fuck?
What is this?
What did they do to it? They made it like...
You know what? I've already seen a kind of like spiritual remake to Heathers, and it was Jawbreaker, and it's fucking hilarious, and I love it. And shut up if you don't like it. Like fucking fight me. I love that movie.
Show up and fight me.
Cause it has what's her name? America's Sweetheart, Judy Greer in it.
She's a national treasure.
She's a national treasure.
What about Mean Girls?
See, but Mean Girls is based on a book.
Was it a book before Heathers?
No.
No.
And it's like a young adult novel, so. And they don't kill anybody.
Yeah, it's not very dark.
Jawbreakers, they accidentally kill her, but they still kill her.
Wasn't there another one?
Well,
there was it was around the time when there was...
There's a more recent one that I want to see, the Tragedy Girls, which is out on video now. I really want to see it. I feel like I told you about it. It happens to have the girl that played Storm in X-Men Apocalypse and the girl that played Negasonic Teenage Warhead in Deadpool. And it's like they're in high school and they're not super popular, so they kill like the most popular guy in school, make it look like a serial killer did it, or like they're copycatting somebody.
Show or movie?
No, it's a movie.
Okay.
And they then make like a blog or a YouTube or something about it, about how this tragedy has affected them, and then they get super popular, so to keep their popularity up, they keep killing people.
Wow, you know what's sad? That sounds like something that could actually happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to it.
Oh, sure.
Disney Junior announces the Rocketeer series for 2019.
Oh,
the series follows a young girl who discovers she's a superhero who can fly with the help from a rocket-powered jetpack. Oh, it's a girl.
Disney...
How progressive.
When we were at Toys R Us today, and I saw that the ride-on, the battery-powered ride-on, it was Miles from Tomorrowland, which is a Disney Junior show, which I didn't know existed. It's clear that, like, with they're aiming them at younger audiences, but at least they're kind of taking chances with stuff. Properties they own.
Why did it take this long to get another Rocketeer? Anything. You jerks. The movie was amazing. How much did it cost when you bought it for me?
Oh my god, $28 or something? It was very expensive, and there's nothing on it.
Nothing. There's not even a trailer.
Hey, you know what? They let him make a fine Captain America film, and I feel like we're like the only people that like it because it's his style. It's a period piece.
What, the first Captain America?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people like that.
Oh, I know, but it's... I like it.
Fox developing Silver Surfer movie.
I did see that.
Plus X-Men movie updates. Fuck.
I never saw the second Fantastic Four movie.
It sucked. Oh, man. First of all, it was Doug Jones, who currently is playing the Seaman.
He's still playing Abe Sapien.
Shape
Got
of
it.
Water. He's the guy in the
He's
suit.
Abe Sapien. Got it.
He's a suit actor.
He always has been.
He always has been. But he played the Silver Surfer.
Which makes perfect sense.
They used
like
Lawrence
CG.
Fishburne's voice.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
And I feel like they did that to him in the first Hellboy movie.
In the Hellboy, it was David Hyde Pierce.
But then in the second one, it was just him.
Just him, right?
And he doesn't have a bad speaking voice.
And David Hyde Pierce, for some reason, he didn't know. He didn't even know why they made him. They asked him to do it. They thought, Doug has a perfectly fine speaking voice. Why do you want me to do this?
Right.
But he didn't get credit. He didn't want credit for it. So good for him. Disneyland Paris announces multi-year expansion.
I saw that they're adding Marvel and something else.
Oh no! Star Wars Rebels series finale trailer.
Oh no! Poor D.
Oh.
My nephew loves that show.
My nephew's gonna be sad. Oscar presenters include Emily Blunt, Dave Chappelle, and more. Dave Chappelle's gonna present at the Oscars.
Mark Hamill too.
Mark Hamill's gonna be the Oscars?
Unless he was kidding, he posted a list on his Instagram and his name was on it.
Oh. All right. They made another Robin Hood movie.
They what?
Robin Hood Moves to Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Stars Taron Egerton. He's the guy from
Kingsman, yeah.
And Jamie Dornan.
Oh yeah. It's more, isn't it like updated? It's
no.
No.
The picture looks like it's the same fucking shit.
Oh, then he must be in something else coming.
Literally, it's the same fucking Robin Hood movie we've seen every time they make a Robin Hood
No,
movie.
no. What the one with Oscar Isaac was different.
The Russell Crowe one was bullshit.
But it was different.
Oh.
I love that we're talking about the same movie. We named two different actors.
Different people.
Is it Cate Blanchett in it? Who's Marion?
Is it Cate Blanchett? It is Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, it's who's Marion, right?
Yes. And oh god, that movie sucks.
You know me, I don't really like Russell Crowe.
I know. You don't like Ridley Scott either.
I don't.
Antoine Fuqua.
Oh yeah, no, I read more on that.
Is once again up to direct Scarface.
Right. He backed out to direct something else. That's why they took it off the slates. But he's making something else, and then he's going to come back to Scarface.
Okay.
I don't know why they're pitching it so hard as a remake of the Pacino one when that's already a remake.
Well, whatever.
Is there a term for the third time a movie's been remade?
Ben-Hur syndrome? Wizard of Oz syndrome? Because Wizard of Oz is a remake.
See, but this is the difference. It's not really a remake. It's just a different adaptation of the source material.
Okay.
Like It, the new It, is not a remake of the made-for-TV one. It is just... It's just a different adaptation of the source.
It's an adaptation of the book.
Yeah.
So calm the fuck down. Nobody wants to adapt the wonderful ABC TV version?
Yeah, I think it was CBS, honestly.
Yeah.
Right. Jonathan Brandis was in that. And Seth Green.
He was.
Harry Anderson. John Ritter. I'm just trying to name them off the top of my head now.
Oh.
John Boy from the Waltons.
Alright. Let's load one more list of articles and then move on. The Weinstein Company declared bankruptcy after sale talks fail.
We did talk about this.
Oh no. Octavia Spencer, Tig Notaro, and more joined Instant Family.
I saw that. Tig Notaro posted that on her Facebook
today. Is that
today.
a movie?
I think it's a TV show. Or Tig Notaro currently has a made-for-Amazon show. And I guess I just assumed it was a made-for-Amazon thing.
They're making a Battlestar Galactica movie.
Great.
All right.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't even care.
Everybody's a Cylon. How about that?
No, the Cylons are the good guys.
Oh
shit. Damn. So, there's movie news.
I guess.
Do that.
Movie and TV news.
Do that at the top of the show. That's always fun. Or the end of the show when things drag. So, we saw Black Panther.
We did.
It was good.
I really liked it.
I liked it. I liked his blackness.
You know what? He was great.
I like the...
He actually did a really nice job of having, like, regal poise and dignity.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like... He didn't go through... And I did say that there's a lot of similarities. The characters and the storylines is with Thor, but T'Challa never goes through that douchebag phase where I'm the king, listen to me.
He starts as a douchebag and he has to find out that he needs to be humble to be a good person.
Right, he's already humble.
Right. And I loved it because at no point in the movie was it an origin story.
Right. It's sort of like the Lion King scene at the beginning where it's telling me the story, Dad.
But it's telling the story of everything.
Right.
Like, this is everything you need to know.
And it's using the vibranium to tell it. Like, as it's moving, like, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the credits using that was really cool.
And
visually.
Like, there's not one scene where he tries on his suit for the first time. There's not a scene where he trains.
Right.
You know, you have to learn to use your... there's no bullshit that. Like,
and they didn't go into this.
Like we've
but
seen
as
that.
A character...
Yeah.
In the comics, anyway, he went to Oxford and he's been physically trained. Like he's a master of like all these different styles of fighting.
Right. And
his sister is a graduate of like MIT. She graduated when she was like 16 or something. Like They don't talk about that,
right? Because they don't need to. It's just,
but
he's a smart, intelligent person.
Right.
She's a genius. Fucking go with it. We don't need for you to stop the movie to tell us, oh, she went to MIT. It's like, we don't fucking care. Look, I see her in her lab. She's creating all this stuff. She's clearly very smart. I don't need to know anything else.
She was also delightful.
And she was delightful. They had a good banter.
They did.
Back and forth.
They had like it really felt like a sibling chemistry between them.
It did. Like the whole family.
Oh, Angela Bassett.
And Angela Bassett. It was funny. They definitely didn't seem like they were mourning very much because they had just lost their father.
She did. The Angela Bassett's character did.
There wasn't a funeral scene, I noticed. Or did that happen in
Maybe
between
it had
Civil
already
War?
happened.
Because this takes place like a week. It says like a week after Civil War does, and so maybe, I don't know. They didn't need to show that either. Just fuck it. He's dead. Just get on with the movie.
Maybe in Wakandan culture they don't mourn in the same way,
right? Because
he went to that plane of existence. You know, that T'Challa, when he passed the rites or whatever they
and Michael B. Jordan fucking killing it as always. I never saw the Fantastic Four.
Me
reboot.
neither. I will say
I was always curious.
You know, as we've talked about before, we try not to watch trailers if we can help it.
Right. You didn't see any trailers.
No. And I remember when I read the cast, I was thinking, well, what the hell are they going to have him do? You know? And as Killmonger, he was amazing.
He was.
And the character is his reasoning isn't wrong.
No.
He's right.
He's just doing it
in the wrong way.
The wrong way. Yeah. And again, that's the character.
And that scene, the bury me in the sea, just
that's heavy.
Kills you.
That was heavy. But I think it was really funny that it kind of did the same thing that Last Jedi did, but no one seems to hate it as much here, which is where they kill what you think is the main villain in Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
And like halfway through the movie, spoilers, Killmonger kills Andy Serkis, and he's dead. And you're like, whoa, what? You just killed Andy Serkis? He's dead? And this is a villain that was set up in Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now in this movie, and he's being the bad guy up until like the turn scene where
you find out
he's not the bad guy. Michael B. Jordan is, and then it just becomes a completely like
right.
Then the movie just
shift
becomes a different film, and that's where it kind of veers off track from being a normal Marvel.
I was just gonna say that's the turn from it being a regular comic book movie.
Where it was just kind of the run of the mill, and then it becomes something else. And then he takes over, and it's just awesome.
I think the other thing too is if you look at the other Marvel stuff, it's either there's a MacGuffin or there's a Skybeam.
Like Doctor Strange. What was the MacGuffin?
The text that brought
he stole
Dormammu
in the beginning of the movie, right? And had trouble with for the
or something.
He waited long enough for him to learn how to become a. It was a good movie.
It was okay.
It was a Doctor Strange. I'm sure it'll be better in Civil War or Infinity Wars.
I will say, I mean, his American accent got better for Thor Ragnarok. I will say that
it did. What about Ant-Man? He wanted to get.
He had to get the tech.
Get the tech.
The actual tech back.
Right.
Otherwise, they were going to weaponize it.
Yeah.
But they're all. And Ant-Man is like by the numbers.
Ant-Man was when.
And I mean, I liked Paul Rudd in it. It wasn't a bad movie.
No. But it was when they started getting funny. There was really only one way to make Ant-Man work. And that was by making it laughable because it is very silly. And
I remember when we were watching it, you can pick the Edgar Wright jokes right out of it. And they're generally the funniest bits.
What's his name? Adam McKay. He helped write it too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly like the two of them brought this humor that I don't think would have been there if they had done, like, if they got like some random person to make it. Well, they did get some random person to make it, but it's the writing that made the movie so good.
If Edgar Wright had directed it,
yeah, it would have been,
because he's so good at that, like, you know, using the entire space. So there's like things happening in the background that don't seem important when you watch it for the first time,
right?
And then you watch it again and you see them all.
And his cutaways and the way he films action scenes. I mean, it was good, but he probably would have done better. But at the same time, I get why he quit, because, like he said, they didn't want to make. They wanted to make a Marvel movie. They didn't want to make an Edgar Wright movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because he worked on it for like 4 years. Like, the reason there's nothing in between Hot Fuzz
and Baby Driver.
Or no, Scott Pilgrim
and Baby Driver.
And Baby Driver is because he was working on Ant-Man for 4 years.
Well, and he did spend quite a bit of time on Baby Driver too.
Yeah. But one thing I just want to mention about Ant-Man that it did, it's so, and I still haven't seen it as good since, was Michael Douglas in the beginning. It was pretty good
in the Robert Downey Jr. in
yeah. But it's clear they used
Civil War.
Right. The de-aging of Michael Douglas in the beginning of Ant-Man. When I first saw that, when we were
it was kind of confusing.
We were sitting in the front row, so we were closest to the screen. And he walks on, and it was like, holy shit! And I was really looking. And I was like trying to find something wrong with it.
See, but I think the reason that one and the Robert Downey Jr. one for Civil War are so good is there's so much source material. The actor is still alive and acting.
Yeah.
So like, they did the mocap for it, and
like, we all know what Michael Douglas looked like in 1989
or whatever.
We all know what Robert Downey Jr. looked like in 1991,
whatever it was supposed to be.
In 91, in
we
Civil
know
War.
What they look like.
Yeah, and it was like, fuck. And then you watch something like Rogue One, where what they did with Grand Moff Tarkin, what's his name? Peter Cushing.
And the Leia at the end,
and Carrie Fisher at the end. It was just like,
and I don't even understand,
like, how did the
Carrie Fisher at the end? Why didn't they get Carrie Fisher to do the voice?
That wasn't her voice.
No, it's somebody else entirely. I hate that movie.
Yeah, but I just don't understand. Like, did they not get the same company? Or was that company busy working on Marvel shit?
Maybe
to do.
All the good animators are working on
Marvel stuff.
We don't have time for Star Wars stuff.
Kurt Russell looks so good at the beginning of Guardians 2. And
there's extras on the Blu-ray for Guardians 2 about that. Where really, once they put the sunglasses and the wig on him, they didn't have to do much, apparently, because he's still so good looking.
That's funny. I did not know that.
But anyway, back to Black Panther.
Back to Black Panther. Back to Black.
It stands alone. It does. You don't have to have seen
and that's
leading up to it, because they give you kind of a quick flashback to what happened to T'Challa in Civil War, or his dad.
In the run through.
And like they give you a description of Andy Serkis's character, how he was a villain in previous movie. You don't have to have seen any of the other ones.
No, and it doesn't set up set up Infinity War at all.
No.
And if it does, we won't know until we watch Infinity War.
And I haven't seen any trailers.
I have not either. I don't want to see a fucking thing.
It was kind of refreshing, because I feel I'm so close to being burnt out on comic book movies.
Yeah.
Because they're getting so tedious and similar.
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of why I thought Thor Ragnarok, I really enjoyed it, because it was a comedy. It was a comedy. It was separate.
And its comic moments were very funny, and its serious moments were very serious.
I mean, it also had Jeff Goldblum.
And it had the funniest line I think there's ever been in a Marvel movie, which was, "What are you, the god of hammers?"
Yeah.
I laughed very hard at that, because I thought it was very funny. Because it's exactly like the thinking of Thor.
But
I lost my hammer.
So?
What are you, the god of hammers? Good on Anthony Hopkins.
But in Black Panther, you don't need to have seen any of the other ones. You don't have to watch any of the other ones.
No, you really don't.
And everyone in it is powerful in their own ways. Like Core, Andy Serkis's character. I believe his name was Core, right?
No.
Yes. I think that's right.
Call in, tell us.
But he was, Andy Serkis was jacked in this movie.
He's like his beard.
He had muscles.
He's very like sunburnt. He's super tan.
And also kind of nailing the South African accent, which is kind of a tricky one.
He's a very good actor.
He is good at voices. And Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
He wasn't physically strong, but
he wasn't worthless.
He wasn't worthless. He wasn't a throwaway character.
No.
They gave him a job to do. He wanted to help.
And he could.
And he could.
And he did. And the whole movie was just, I don't know. Again, we watched it with a fucking toddler running around the theater.
Who was not interested.
She didn't really care for it. But I would like to watch it again.
Yeah.
Just sit down and watch it. But I'm sure would still enjoy it. Maybe even more.
I remember only having, I had to really think when we got done watching the movie about anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
And the only complaint I had was there was, some weird special effects issues.
Yeah.
Where they looked a little wrong.
Like watching
the fight.
The fight at the end. Yeah,
it didn't look.
I had flashbacks to Blade 2.
I was thinking Spider-Man 3. It wasn't quite as bad as Spider-Man 3.
No.
Effects-wise.
Effects? Well, the movie itself wasn't.
But, because I remember the other big action scene where he's in the suit is...
In Hong Kong?
Or they were in Korea.
South Korea, probably.
I think it was South Korea. But where he's on the top of the car. I don't remember the CG in that being as odd looking as it was in the end in the tunnels in the mines.
Probably because there was more actual things.
Oh, maybe
because the backgrounds are real. Some of the cars are probably
might have been real.
He probably wasn't. I'm gonna say there probably wasn't actually.
In Civil War, I remember seeing the here's how they made these shots. It was actually him in a suit jumping off a thing with wires and stuff. So. But it's entirely possible some of it was.
But in the end, it's clearly all CG.
The background and
an entirely CG environment. And them jumping around and shit. That's probably not all. It's probably George Lucas did, where it's just the actors are real. And they're actually acting to nothing. But when they're jumping around, okay, that's probably all fake.
That's when when they were jumping around was when I really noticed it. But I feel out of a 2-hour and 20-minute movie, if that one little thing is my only complaint, it's so minuscule.
Don't get petty about it, okay? Tom Petty.
But it's
thumbs up.
High up.
Very thumbs up.
The cast
clearly you don't need our recommendation to go see it because it's fucking tearing up.
It's killing all these records.
And good for it.
The cast is so strong,
too. Right now, I feel so fucking stupid not knowing at the time.
We were watching and I thought, gosh, this woman that's his bodyguard.
The general.
And they're good friends. And
his general.
Oh, gosh, wow, this woman is great.
It was the next day.
Fucking idiots for not realizing it was Michonne instantly.
From The Walking Dead. I felt so fucking dumb. Because she looks so thinner. She looks so much more thin on Walking Dead. And not to mention she has dreads. But then you see her in Black Panther.
Right, with no hair.
And she's jacked.
Right. Well, I think that maybe that's part of it. On Walking Dead, they're supposed to kind of be starving and gaunt. And on this, she's just
fucking killing it.
She's amazing.
But, God damn it.
And the fight choreography.
It was a good movie.
Yes.
And
see it if you haven't. See it again if you have.
If they make more, they don't go the Iron Man 2 route, where it's just set up for another fucking movie.
Yeah.
like, what else was it? It was Iron Man 2 was basically just set up for the Avengers.
So was Thor.
Thor was just to get Thor out there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you made a Thor movie because Thor is because Loki's the villain in the Avengers, so we gotta introduce all these people.
We have to set that up.
And they didn't really talk about Infinity Stones at all in Thor.
Oh,
they weren't brought up at all until
neither
Captain
was
America.
Black Panther.
Right.
They didn't mention it at all.
Like, that's the cool thing. There's no setup. Because Ryan Coogler was like, no. Or somebody was. Somebody was like, let's take this more seriously until we make the sequel and just completely fuck it up.
God, I hope not.
I do too.
I mean, hope they just and if like, Ryan Coogler doesn't stay, I hope they stick with a black director.
Right.
I think it'd be great to see.
I think he should just come back.
He should stay.
Just come back. Your talent was all over this movie. I could see it right away in the opening shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, this is just like it reminded me so much of Creed, where it was like one shot, a kid's playing basketball. Started at a hoop, went all the way around the basketball court, and then back up to the hoop, and then you saw like the light.
Right.
In the sky.
He has his own.
It was like, it
reminded
me of that
style.
The boxing scene in Creed,
where it was one shot.
It's like 3 minutes long, and it was amazing.
Where it was just that one shot around the ring.
Oh, 3 rounds, 3 minutes. It was awesome, and just like his serious style, like take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Joke when you need to lighten it up.
I think it's also really interesting that it's so far and away different from Fruitvale Station.
Oh my God, yes. So different.
But at the same time, it's still sort of addressing similar issues.
You're right.
Where, Killmonger's character, the whole reason he wants to get back to Wakanda, he wants to get into Wakanda and distribute the technology, it's still sort of in the same vein.
Yeah.
But I think that's mainly because there's still such issue in the world.
Still.
Yeah. Shouldn't be, but is.
So, yeah. Just come on back for the sequel, dude. They will let you do whatever you want.
I hope so.
Now? Good. Forget about it. It's like, well, this is my idea. I want it to take place on the moon.
Also, we talked about this a little bit tonight, that there's the petition online to get Disney to donate X amount of percentage of the profits, which they absolutely should do.
Sure, because they can.
Because they can. They're the largest company in the world now.
You don't even need a Black Panther movie to do it. Just fucking do it.
And then they donated $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club of America,
which
is good. It's a good start, but I mean that movie has made like $200 billion already.
The movie's already up to like $700 million after a week.
Just you can give more than that.
You had 3 movies make $1 billion.
How about you just do what T'Challa did at the end of the movie and just start opening up youth centers in places that need them?
Because we're Disney.
You could. Oh my God. And it's so shitty too. That if Disney did that, it might be free to youth for like a year, and then you know what? We could charge for this.
Because we're Disney.
Because we're Disney.
Sorry, there's money to be made.
Bullshit. They can give more, and they should.
So please come back for the sequel, everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, dude. They will unless you probably already are, but they will let you do whatever you want.
I hope he's already working on the treatment.
You handed them the biggest,
well, it's already topped Wonder Woman.
It's not really a sequel to anything.
Mm-mm.
It's its own movie, and it
just happens to have
brand,
three characters from.
It has a brand behind it, but it itself, the character, it's the first movie, and fucking dude,
out of the park,
dude,
so good.
You can do whatever you want now. I think he is. Him and Michael B. Jordan, they're moving on.
he has a muse, and he's sticking.
It's his De Niro.
This is what sucks. Like Michael B. Jordan has seemingly been his muse for all of his major motion pictures, and then he killed Killmonger.
Or did he? Oh, sequel.
I kind of hope not, because he's the kind of villain that is...
He's a good villain.
Because he's not wrong, just an asshole.
Just an asshole.
No. He's just the kind of villain you want.
Yeah.
Right, but going about it in a wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
And the other thing is, if T'Challa almost needs... He's like the flip side of a coin, where T'Challa is all this regal and nobility, and
Stoic.
he wants to do right, but doesn't actually know the problems with the world.
Really, right. He grew up in a bubble. Literally.
And Killmonger...
Well, he didn't grow up in a bubble, because he did go to Oxford.
But still...
He's been out there in the world.
He doesn't care as much about people's problems because he hasn't had to live in it.
He's told not to care because
but he hasn't had to live with like oppression and racism and
wars
and everything, and living in poverty, possibly, I would assume.
Rainy days.
You know what I mean?
When you can't find a remote.
Where
your car doesn't start.
They're two flip sides of the same coin.
Yeah, and
there was also a like Shakespearean type, almost like a Hamlet or a Macbeth with the dad and his brother.
Yeah, maybe that's how they can bring him back in the sequel. Like T'Challa will get buried again, go to the other place, and then he'll see Michael B. Jordan
and have a conversation.
And have a nice conversation with him,
like he did with his dad.
How's being dead working out for you? Sorry I killed you. No hard feelings? That's all I got. Maybe that's how they'll do it. Nice little cameo. We'll see. Black Panther.
In theaters now.
So when it goes down to the video store shelf, it'll be in a different, because it starts with a B. So it's not going to be next to the Mario Van Peebles directed 1993 movie Panther, which is also about Black Panthers, but not that kind.
But it will be near Blade.
It will be. It'll be on the same. It'll be pretty close on the same shelf. Pick and choose. Not the third one though. Jesus Christ. Fucking train wreck.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
I kind of always forget about it.
I was so upset. After the second one was so good.
Yeah, the second one's the best one of the three.
The second one was just so like fun. And it was like, this is a good Blade sequel. And then the third one comes along, and it's directed by David Goyer. It was his first movie he ever made. He was a writer. He's written a lot of stuff.
So he still is a writer.
That's right. But it was his first movie ever directed, and oh my fucking god, he should never have been near. He's made movies since.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they let him keep making movies. I don't understand it. He's fucking terrible.
Because Blade Trinity made some money?
He has no... Like, I've seen, I think, 3 different movies of his. It was Blade Trinity. Shit. Gary Oldman was in it.
Narrow it down.
Shit. I can't remember what it was called.
Is it an action movie?
No, it was a horror movie.
A horror movie.
And
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman was in it. He played a priest. It had the girl in it who played the girlfriend in Cloverfield. The Unborn? No?
The Unborn is a movie.
I think that might be it. The Unborn, where it's like the girl's dead twin brother. I don't fucking remember, but I just remember like the style of it was completely different from Blade. Like, it looked more like a Michael Bay movie, and then
which makes sense because the girl from Cloverfield looks like Megan Fox.
I think Michael Bay produced it, but the guy has absolutely no style that he sticks with. He's a fucking terrible filmmaker. He's an okay writer, I guess.
When he co-writes, he's better.
When he co-writes, he's okay. But God,
Doesn't he co-write Dark City?
Yes, he did. He did that. He did the Batman movies, but that was with Christopher Nolan steering the ship. But yeah, fucking. The
iPod commercial that was. Oh
God. She likes picking songs to kill vampires with and putting them on her iPod. It's like, dude, fuck you. Did we really? Yeah. And you hear Patton Oswalt's story about his backstage stories about how fucking Wesley Snipes hated working with David S. Goyer. for a good reason, because he knew he was destroying the movie. But no one listened to the star and producer. They wanted this guy to make them. It's like, whose dick did David Goyer suck?
I think it's interesting, too, learning now.
And I think it's funny that I still have a grudge.
That Wesley Snipes wanted to make Black Panther movie back then.
Coming back to it. Yeah.
And that he wanted to play Black Panther, and he wanted it to take place during the Civil Rights Movement, I guess, or partly around the same time, or it was going to be that theme, and they wouldn't let him do it. They said, it's too political or something, so he did Blade instead.
Well, the comics date back to...
Just before
the
Black Panther movement, actually.
Pretty badass
Black
Panther comics.
It's like 6 months to a year. Yeah. The comic book came out before the Black Panthers were a thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Like right before.
Do you think the comic?
I don't think they were even aware of each other.
Interesting.
It's something that happened at the same time.
That would be fascinating if the Panthers adopted
that because of the comic, but I don't think that's why. Nah. I think it's one of those things that just happens.
I don't know. It'd be funny. And here we are now. We're back at it. Black Panther. It's funny. It all comes back around.
Cyclical. I was thinking when you were talking about how David Goyer doesn't have a style, and I was thinking about the trailer we watched the other day.
For?
The Hurricane Heist. Which made me think that, Rob Cohen has a style, and it's entertaining trash.
Rob Cohen directed a new movie coming out called The Hurricane Heist. Saw a trailer for it in front of something I was watching the other day on YouTube. Because, YouTube, well, hey, you want to skip this? But for this, and I always do, at the top of a video, it's like, no, I want to watch this fucking video that I want to see. But for this one, I'm like, wait, the fuck is this? And I watched this trailer.
It almost looks like a movie that would go straight to video.
Except the effects look like they actually cost money.
Yeah, it almost looks like a sci-fi movie, like a sci-fi channel movie, but more money.
Like this should have been a TV movie of the week on NBC,
or
30
TNT.
Years ago. Yeah, but they spent a lot of money on it. But it's from a studio that I've never heard of before, and probably never will, since they clearly spent all their money on this.
But in the trailer, it did say, from the director of The Fast and the Furious.
And Triple X, because Rob Cohen is this director he started the Fast and Furious franchise. He directed the first movie. And he didn't come back to direct the second one because he was making Triple X with Vin Diesel. Who also didn't come back.
Which sort of, I feel like Triple X spawned from Fast and Furious making money.
It's the same producer. But Rob Cohen, like even before then, he produced, back in the 80s, he produced The Monster Squad with Peter Hyams. He produced something else.
Well, I know that he directed Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
He produced Disorganized Crime,
which we just watched.
But he made Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. He made Dragon Heart.
Not related. It's a weird sequel.
It's a weird sequel. This has nothing to do with Bruce Lee. It takes place 200 years in the past.
And there's a dragon? I don't know what's happening.
But it's the Dennis Quaid, Sean Connery voicing a dragon movie. Which
my mom loves that movie.
You probably remember. And then the terrible Sylvester Stallone movie Daylight, which was basically just Poseidon Adventure in a tunnel. Literally the same characters. And then The Skulls.
But yeah.
But he also made a really good Rat Pack movie.
But that was
for HBO.
I was going to say that was made for TV. But
with Ray Liotta as Frank Sinatra.
He makes entertaining trash.
He was good. And then around Fast and Furious, he found his niche.
Yeah.
Which was trash.
But it's not
glossy trash. Like that's all Triple X was compared to the second one. And did you know they made a third one?
I vaguely remember that.
We never saw it.
No,
I forget about it every time.
I feel like Vin Diesel needed
something.
A new battle station desktop PC.
Flipped a coin. It landed.
He's such a nerd.
He flipped a coin and it landed on its side, facing.
That's one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes.
Then Rob Cohen made Stealth,
which was garbage.
Which was just not great. One of the biggest box office failures of all time, so that kind of put him in a funk. But then he made a movie in 2011?
I think it was 11.
When it came out, called Alex Cross, which is a prequel to the Morgan Freeman movie.
Technically, but not technically.
Right, because it was
the book was a prequel. The book I, Alex Cross happens before Kiss the Girls and before
Along Came Spider. But Along Came Spider was a prequel too, wasn't it? The book came before Kiss the Girls,
correct.
But the movie came after.
And I, Alex Cross was the story of how Alex Cross went from being a cop to being he was like a
profiler,
an FBI profiler.
Yeah,
but he formerly was a cop. He's also like a psychologist or something. Alex Cross is a genius character.
He's a bunch of things.
And from what I understand, the book is actually Alex Cross as a book is quite good.
Yeah,
and I think technically James Patterson wrote it after the other books. I think he actually wrote the book as a prequel.
Yeah.
So you can see like where the character is coming from.
Because we all need to know.
Which, okay,
but
I guess.
You have a special connection to this movie for a very fun reason. And why is that?
Fun is in quotes there.
Why do you have a special connection to the movie Alex Cross, starring Mr. Tyler Perry?
Because I worked as an extra on it.
In what scene did you work as an extra?
Okay, so in the movie, the villain, was his name Picasso?
Yes.
Played by Matthew Fox from Lost, Party of Five.
Nothing else.
I'm sure he's done other things. Those are just the only two things.
Lost and Party of Five. Moving on.
He's the bad guy, and
he's an assassin.
Yes. And they're trying to find him, or he's trying to get close to somebody, so he enters like an ultimate fighting thing.
Yeah.
But so the scene that I was an extra in was the underground ultimate fighting match.
You were in the stands.
And I was in the crowds.
Yeah. Crowd scenes.
It was they found an abandoned church in Detroit because
this was filmed in Detroit.
About half of it.
Because at the time Michigan still had a tax incentive, so everyone was filming in Detroit.
But the books, Alex Cross is from Detroit.
Yeah,
that's where he was a cop.
So
before he moved on to his other career, and so they filmed. I don't even know if it was half. I know a lot of it was filmed in Ohio. Because their tax incentive was better, and technically, I remember Rob Cohen was talking to us as extras, and he told a story about how he was excited to make the movie, and he really wanted to film the whole thing in Detroit, and the studio wouldn't let him.
Weird.
Because Ohio had the better tax break.
Yeah.
And he apparently went to bat to film as much of it in Michigan as he could.
Well,
to make sure that he could give people work, and
it's admirable.
He seemed like a really good guy.
Yeah.
And but it was.
But you filmed for 2 nights.
Was it 2?
Was it? I think you were gone.
It might have been 2.
But by the time you'd gotten, because was Matthew Fox there?
Yes.
Okay, he was there, but by the time they filmed the scene, Tyler Perry had already finished all of his stuff.
Yeah, he was wrapped.
Because he'd had to move on to a Medea movie.
Probably.
But
he wasn't in the scene anyway, I don't think.
No, he wasn't. It was just strictly Matthew Fox doing an MMA beat down on somebody.
Right. And I seem to remember that
But you had to...
The other fighter is actually an MMA fighter. Yeah. Somebody that's named, and maybe if I watched UFC, I would know.
Yeah. But they wanted you to... But, okay, set the stage. When did they film this? What time of year? Was it November?
The tail end or the beginning of winter?
Yeah.
It was either November or February or March.
And they wanted you to wear what?
Right. So that's the thing. It was supposed to be, in the description, this is an underground fight where rich people go. This is their entertainment.
They bet on.
And they bet on it.
Yeah.
So it was you're supposed to dress like a rich person, I guess.
Cocktail dress.
Right, it was cocktail dress and heels and right.
Shit like that.
And it was bring options or whatever. And if they didn't like what you brought, they would put you in something. So, I took this little black dress, little cocktail dress, fuck me heels or whatever, and like a tiny little wrap. They didn't tell us what the environment was. They just said, this is the clothes we want you to bring.
Then tell you they'd be filming at night?
No. I don't think it was at night, honestly. It was during the day. They filmed it all day. Yeah. Because they have to just, they reset the cameras and film the same thing again. So it was the abandoned church, and it was dilapidated. Like, there was a hole in the roof, and they didn't put heaters, like, under the church pews for us or anything. Mm-hmm. It was fucking freezing in this church. And it was, like, the only time that you could get warm is, like, when they'd yell background and you start acting like you're betting and you're really excited about this fight and you're cheering and stuff. So you're moving around. The rest of it, you're just fucking sitting there freezing.
And the set lights weren't helping at all?
No, because none of them were on the crowd. They're on the octagon.
Yeah, this is what I remember the most. I remember you coming home.
And I was so sick.
You got sick. Yeah.
I had a fever.
Yeah.
I had like chills.
I don't think it was pneumonia, but you definitely came back with a cold. I'm sure a lot of people did.
It sucked.
I'm sure the guys who got to wear pants and jackets. I mean,
shit. Matthew Fox. Like,
right, he was rolling around and like just.
But if you've seen this movie, which God, I hope you haven't. It's not very good. But Matthew Fox is like the only person in it taking it seriously.
Yeah.
He must have got down to like 0 body fat. He was
just muscle.
He was just muscle, and he shaved his head, and he clearly took it very seriously.
Very intense in that movie.
And in that fighting scene, he's just wearing like a pair of spandex trunks.
Right. He's wearing like MMA shorts.
And nothing else.
And it was probably like 20 degrees outside.
Right.
In this cold ass dilapidated church. I bet he didn't get sick.
Well, I think
maybe he did if he had no body fat.
I seem to remember that like in between takes they were bringing out like a giant coat for him to wear.
That makes sense. But
on that, Rob Cohen seemed, because he addressed us, like he apologized that it was so cold and thanked us for hanging in.
Seemed like a good guy.
Right. He seemed nice enough. And that movie is just trash.
Oh, it's so bad. By the way, we watched the movie in the theater and we couldn't find you.
No, and we went within the first week, I think, and there was nobody in the theater.
Oh, shit. Can we talk about that song at the end?
Yes.
It's literally the plot of the movie.
So, I think it's admirable of Rob Cohen that he tried to get, he did get a lot of, local
Detroit
celebrities,
talent.
But he got Detroit people. There's, I can't think of his name right now, but he owns like most of the strip clubs in the Detroit area. He owns a lot of strip clubs, and he was in that scene, and he's just supposed to be like this fly-looking motherfucker. Like they had him with like a crazy cool hat and 2 good-looking ladies with him, and like that's kind of cool.
So it's like an in-joke for Detroit. Like, look, there's that dude.
And the guy who was the MC at the fight is like a local rapper, and they tried to find cool. He tried to find like local people, which is really cool. And then there's this Detroit rapper, and I can't think of his name right now either.
Sorry.
And they got him, and it might have been him was the MC in the movie, actually. It might have been the same guy. But they were like, write a song for the movie.
Write an end credit song for the movie. Or just a song.
I think
but the
song
ended up
plays, the movie ends, credits start, this song starts playing. This guy is literally just, his lyrics are rapping the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
You could just listen to the song and watch the music video, and you've got the movie. You don't even need to see it.
He literally, I've never seen that before or heard that before. Is literally the plot of the film is wrapped in this end credits song, and we'll put a link.
To
and check it out.
It's not that it's a bad song. It's just like, wait, you're just rapping what just happened in the movie.
Did you just read the script and you didn't know what else to do? Did they even let you read the script? Did you read the book?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm really curious about how that came about.
Yeah.
Did Rob Cohen find him? Was it a studio thing?
Was it a thing like they signed a contract with the guy, so they had to put whatever he made in the end credits of the movie? And then he showed up with this, and they're like, "Oh shit! Well, we got to pay him money if we want to avoid his contract." But
I remember like posting that as my review somewhere. Like it might have been on my Letterboxd account. It was like, "Don't see the movie. Here's the video for the song. This is all you need to watch."
Yeah. No offense to Rob Cohen, but dude, what the fuck happened?
Well, and some of it also...
He used to be, like, his other movies, he was a really good director of action. This movie...
The action was bad.
The fight scene at the end is so incomprehensible.
It's shaky cam, cut. It's like...
It's more than just shaky cam. It's like...
The edits are so choppy and fast.
Is it because Tyler Perry could not be... He couldn't learn to choreograph a fight?
Maybe. I think Tyler Perry was a wrong choice all around.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's a good actor.
He's not a bad actor, but for that part.
Yeah. Coming off of Morgan Freeman? I don't know.
And I don't know who could have played it, but
Michael B. Jordan.
But it shouldn't have been Tyler Perry. And there's other...
Who was his part?
Ed Burns. Ed Burns plays the partner is pretty good.
First of all, Ed Burns...
Isn't he an Academy Award winner?
He was nominee, I think, but it was so sad to see him playing second fiddle to fucking Tyler Perry. Like, it was just like, dude, you were in Saving Private Ryan.
I can't remember who played the wife either. She's somebody. She's a name, but I can't remember who it was now.
I can't remember.
But
I can't remember much about the movie.
Tyler Perry and the action directing are the weak links of that movie.
Yeah, and then
because it's not the story. The story is generally okay.
Most of it was terribly written too. Like the beginning of the movie.
I feel like the dialogue isn't great either.
It's not, because I remember the beginning. Tyler Perry, Alex Cross is chasing some dude, and this is just how the movie starts. He's chasing some guy who he's chasing a perp. He's chasing a perp because he's still a cop, and he catches him. And Ed Burns shows up, and they make some wisecrack partner, like dialogue, and then it was literally like the first thing that I thought of while watching that scene was the scene in Boogie Nights where they're it's Mark Wahlberg and John C. Reilly, and they're filming a porno scene, and they just beat up a bunch of guys clearly, and they're like, oh well. They like high five each other. They're like, well, at least we got some let's go get some Saturday Night Fever
or something.
Like their banter was exactly like that. I was like, this is fucking terrible. Ed Burns, what are you doing, man? But yeah, so Alex Cross, trash. And then so back to the Hurricane Heist. Oh
yeah, right. I was like, how the hell did we get talking about Alex Cross?
Rob Cohen. Yeah, so the Hurricane Heist is a heist that takes place during a hurricane.
And you know what? I kind of can get behind the premise. It's okay.
It seems like, did they plan this? Or was it just bad luck?
It's probably they were planning a heist. Like there's hurricane happens.
Yeah. Now we have to get away.
Now we have to get out. We successfully robbed a place.
We robbed whatever we're robbing. Now we got to get out.
Get out of the hurricane. Which I think we have seen that movie.
I've seen this movie before, and it was called Hard Rain. Which came out 20 years ago and starred Morgan Freeman and Christian Slater, who was in Heathers.
Whoa!
And we're talking about...
That's crazy.
Wow. This is a crazy conversation.
Straight up accident.
I just realized that.
That's crazy.
Hard Rain, literally came out 20 years ago. The same plot.
Except it's not a hurricane, it's a flood.
It's a flood. Christian Slater drives an armored car.
With his uncle.
With his uncle. And they get caught in a flood, and Morgan Freeman shows up supposedly to help, but he's actually there to rob the armored car and get the money because they got $3 million in the back of their van. And then Christian Slater takes the money so they don't steal it.
And he hides it.
And then action scenes ensue on jet skis. And
it's
not a great movie, but it's not terrible. It's a good action movie. If you like that kind of thing.
I don't know. Randy Quaid is...
Randy Quaid's, but, it's a good action movie. It's a fun action movie.
It's Drake from Aliens.
It's got Drake from Aliens. But, It's literally watching the trailer is like, what?
This is hard rain.
This is just hard rain.
Except they upped the weather.
They really did up it to a flood. Hurricane.
Hold my beer. Watch this.
Hold my beer.
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
But I mean, it looks kind of entertaining.
But also, I think we watched the whole movie watching the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer was really long, and it just seemed to keep going. And it kind of like, oh, okay.
And I can tell you something.
It doesn't seem like they get away.
I couldn't tell you any of the people that are in it. I don't know if that's because there's not any people I recognize in it, or they're just so forgettable. They
spent all the money on their effects.
Oh, probably.
They spent all the money on the budget for the movie, not the actors. They just got people who they could pay scale.
It almost...
That's how you make a fucking movie.
I feel like the one robber, I've seen him in stuff. Like, his face is familiar, but I couldn't tell you.
Can't remember. I know that the end, like, the trailer was cut terribly, because in the end of the movie, what did it say? $1 million and a million miles an hour?
No, it was
700
like,
miles an hour hurricane? What?
It was like $700 million at 70 miles an hour.
700 miles per hour.
Or something like that.
It was like,
huh?
I don't think hurricanes blow that fast, do they? Doesn't that blow this?
But you know what? It's one of those movies that, TNT or TBS is going to pick up super cheap for syndication rights.
Yeah, you'll see it on one of those.
And they'll just air it all the time.
USA.
Like TNT used to do with Fast and the Furious. I feel like that used to be on every weekend.
The Bourne movies, too. Yeah, they repeat shit ad nauseum. It's like, hey, did you miss it at 4 o'clock? Well, here it is again at 6.
I don't know. Maybe it's not as bad now. We don't have TNT anymore. Maybe you could let us know. But that's how it used to be. I mean, they started getting their own content.
USA just plays fucking Law and Order.
They have their own content, too.
Yeah, but on weekdays, it's Law and Order between the hours of 12 and 9. It seemed like...
They do have a lot of
They just played
SVU.
Law and Order, like, all day.
I don't know if they still play Criminal Intent. No, I think they moved Criminal Intent over to, like, Oxygen or one of the other Universal networks.
No.
I was trying to think if there was anything else we should talk about.
No. I think we covered pretty much all we want to.
I think we're good for this time.
Positive thoughts. Good episode.
I think so.
I think we talked about some fun stuff.
We went off on a couple tangents.
Yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it?
That's what happens.
That's what happens. All right, let's cue the music.
All right, so thanks for listening to our nonsensical
Thanks
rants.
for listening to our third episode.
I know. I said I wanted to make 2 every month, and is it because February is so short?
Hey, fucking life happens, Sorry we can't go all in on this every now and then. Sometimes we're just fucking tired. I want to go to sleep.
I feel like we should make one next Tuesday so we have fresh Oscar crap in our heads.
Ooh, we should come home that night.
Oh god, it's gonna be so late.
Like 1 o'clock in the that'll be such a fun commentary. We'll come home, we'll get drunk, and we'll do we'll do a fucking podcast.
God, I wish we could do one during.
Yeah.
But we're going to be busy.
We're going to be busy.
Like a drunk podcast during the Oscars.
During the Oscars? We're halfway through. We can't even fucking watch it. What are we talking about?
We could figure it out.
We tried to do that last year, and we kept getting cut out. Like, literally every stream, why the fuck are we still talking? Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
See you next time.
See you next time. You can't see us.
I can see you.